Hey, Aaron, how equipped, how ready is your ball club in your mind?
Ready. Had a long week of work. Guys have been focused. We'll have another workout today, obviously, here in a little bit. But I know the guys are chomping at the bit to get going. It's been a long road to get here, and now we get to go compete for a championship, and that's what we set out to do.
Do you think about the term long playoff run, or you just start with this series and go from here?
Yeah, I mean, the here and now. We got the Kansas City Royals in here coming off a really strong series, playing with confidence. Our focus is on, Michael Wacha in Game 1, and that's you got to stay present, certainly, especially in the postseason.
Up front on your left, Aaron. Brian.
Aaron, you said yesterday you were going to let left field marinate a little bit. How's the marinating going?
Good. I know, but I haven't talked to all the people yet, so I'm not going to reveal anything right now.
Do you have a lineup in your mind for tomorrow? And
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Second row on your right, Justin.
Have you guys arrived on a decision with Anthony Rizzo?
We have not. He's going to test it some more today. Again, still feel like it's a long shot, but we'll see what we have today. But today's kind of that day of really finding out.
Have you decided on whether you'll carry 11 or 12 pitchers?
Just about, but still want to finalize that over the next few hours.
Up front on your left, Chris.
Austin struggled in September, didn't have many results. Are you still committed to him batting fourth in your lineup?
Yes.
And why is that?
I just feel like within those, little bit of bump, I feel like we're seeing a real mature hitter. It's one at bat, but I go back to that at bat that we clinched in against Perez, where to me it was the at bat of that game that set us up, and it's just feel like he swung the bats well through this week. I feel like the week off probably served him well. Feel like he's had good live at bats this week, but I have a lot of confidence in the presence he brings there.
And one row behind, Ian.
Aaron, just with the uncertainty you had with Gerrit earlier in the season, how kind of comforting is it to have him healthy going into the playoffs, and how do you think he's throwing? Right?
Yeah, I feel like he's throwing the ball really well. So there's no one else we'd want to hand the ball to. He's battle tested. He's pitched in a ton of big games in his career. Obviously, he's our ace. He's been through a lot this year, and working his way back from injury really for the first time in his career. And he's worked his tail off to get to the point, and it's been a process the whole way. But I feel like over the last really 6-8 weeks, man, he's throwing the ball really well, and we have a lot of confidence when we take the field behind him.
And Peter, I think right next to you.
My question was about Gerrit as well, but I'll ask you more specifically. Just, do you feel like he's returned kind of that Cy Young form, as the season's gone on?
Yeah, I feel like he looks like Garrett Cole, like an ace. He's got a lot of ways to beat you, a lot of ways to get you out. I feel like he's got a handle on his arsenal right now, and a pretty good command of the entire arsenal too. And excited to see him go do his thing tomorrow.
Anthony?
Aaron, the Pete Alonso home run last night, you have some familiarity with a moment like that in the playoffs. What went through your mind the minute you know the ball was out, and what was that trip around the bases like? Yours.
Me personally? Yeah. I don't remember it very well, honestly. Like, it's one of those, I tell people this all the time, like, you have those moments in your life that you can remember, like, recall it, picture yourself there. It's very foggy for me. I knew it was gone. I was just making sure initially it was fair, and then I knew it was going to be fair. So turned into a pretty good night.
Gary, right in front of you, Anthony.
Did Jake come away okay from throwing yesterday, and is he still on track to pitch for you guys in this series?
Yeah. So he threw in the sim game. Stuff was really good. So again, I want to make sure he gets through his catch play and everything today, but early in talking to him a few hours ago, felt like everything was going to be good, but want to get through that part too.
Gotcha. And you said also you're still deliberating on how many pitchers close to finalizing. Do you expect Marcus to be part of that, or are you still unsure on that?
We'll make that call here in the next few hours.
Against the wall on your right, Joel.
Aaron, do you feel the team's any different as far as you got to make a decision at left, you got to make a decision at first, you don't have a set closer, maybe you'll pinch run a little more, that it's a different kind of team that you're taking in the playoffs maybe than your other one, where you have to kind of do a little more?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, every year's different. I do feel like we're a little more whole than we've been in some years going into the playoffs. You know, obviously, you know, Riz getting hurt, you know, was a blow down the stretch there for us, and Nestor not being there, and DJ now being out for a few weeks. But I also feel like we got a lot back over the last month that hopefully serves us well, and that we have more options going into a series that, you know, can play a factor or play a role.
Go to Greg in the second row on your right.
Did everybody come through the last 2 days of workouts healthy?
Yeah. Just making sure Cousins plays catch and all good. Yeah.
And just with Judge, how much do you sense his playoff runs have kind of eaten at him, just not ending how he wants them to over the years?
Look, I think Judgy, first and foremost, just like all of us has been through this a lot now, you know, we want to win a championship, and that's where the focus is. So I know that's where his focus is, and feel like he's in a really good spot right now. And yeah, I mean, it's you know, it's not about individual stuff at all. You know, this is about us going out and doing things to try and win baseball games and compete for a championship.
We'll go Ron up front.
What was the bullpen sim game schedule for Clark and Hill the last few days? And did you do it thinking that either or both could be available out of the pen in one or two, and then line up?
Yeah, they didn't throw in those because they threw at the back end of the week of the regular season. So they've thrown bullpens. Yeah.
You could have used them in the sim game for an inning just to simulate.
Yeah, but we're more their days more lined up on bullpen days to have them ready, you know, going in early in the series.
So are they both options out of the pen?
Yeah.
I think Dan has a question 4 rows back on the right. And then Bob.
What are your expectations for Soto? You know, he's about to become a huge free agent. Now, you've only guaranteed him this year. Just, you know, the playoffs are here, and you've seen him for a whole season now. What do you think this is going to be like for him?
I mean, I'm not thinking of the free agency part of it. I don't think he is. I think he's loving being here and being part of this team and knowing what's at stake and what he has an opportunity to do. He's been in playoff baseball before. He's won a championship before, so he obviously knows what it takes. And I think that's where his mind is. Talk about being present. I think he's very present with where he is, and obviously he's coming off an amazing regular season, and you know, obviously a guy we count on heavily in our lineup. But I think he's in a great place. I don't think he ever gets ahead of himself like that. I think that'll be for that when that time comes, they'll handle that. But right now, I think he's completely focused on going out there and performing on a big stage in the playoffs.
Go to Bob, then Brendan.
Aaron, excuse me. Aaron, you've managed the Yankees team that almost got to the World Series, and you've also managed a Yankee team that didn't get to the playoffs. What's your intuition about this year's team? Where does it fall within that spectrum?
I think we have a chance to win it all. Mm-hmm. You know, but I think everyone that's still going probably feels that same way, rightfully so. Again, I feel like in a lot of ways we're in a better position going into the postseason this year with some of the things that have kind of come together at the end. But I've been, you know, anytime we've gone into the postseason, you know, I felt really good about our chances, and no different now. You know, last year was, you know, we weren't as good as, not close to as good as what we are now. That's the reality. So I'm excited to see us take our shot, and I know our guys are all ready to roll.
Brendan.
Back on Soto, you've had him for a full season. Just what's that been like?
It's been awesome. I mean, obviously getting to see what him and Aaron have done together. We talk about the historic nature of the seasons they've thrown up. But I've really enjoyed the person, really since one of those memories I can remember when I first called him. In the off season, it was in the evening in my hallway upstairs off my bedroom, and talked to him for the first time. And then just seeing him come into spring training and just immediately get integrated in our room. I grew an appreciation for his love of the game that you can tell he has. And obviously, he's just been a really good teammate and person in our room. Obviously, he obviously came in here with a ton of attention and all the attention that goes with him being a free agent at the end of the year. And you've never felt that. It's been about being part of this team, and he's fit in perfectly. And it's been a lot of fun to get to know him and to see how much he cares about his craft.
And you said you think he's really loving being here.
Yeah.
What gives you that that observation?
I don't know. I interact with him every day on some level, and to me, it seems like he's enjoyed his time here. So I'd probably enjoy my time too if I walked out with that skill set every day. So, but to see how watching him interact with his teammates and just watch his ease with which he moves through the room, and in my view, the comfortability he has in our room, that's what tells me that.
Do two last ones. Gary up front on your left.
If Rizzo can't play in this series, what kind of impact could he still have, considering, one, you guys have some first basemen who are still newish in the position, and two, that he is a guy with championship experience?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's one of the things Anthony brings to the table from an intangible standpoint anyway. And so, yeah, there's always those things that you can bring to the table, and certainly with some of the inexperience we have at first base with some guys. So he's already, been out there working with guys and talking through situations, and if he can't go, that'll be the case moving through this series.
The second row on your right, and then we'll do Ian as the last one.
Aaron, your former bench coach, Carlos Mendoza, what have you thought about his run and him leading his squad to the postseason in his first year as a Mets manager?
Yeah, I think he's done great, and not surprisingly. He's just such a quality person. Worn a lot of hats in the game for being a young man. He's played through the minor leagues, coordinator, manager, coach, my bench coach. Like, just you get to be around him and you understand what a quality person he is and what a great baseball person he is and what a great baseball mind he has. For him to be leading that team, especially with all they went through the first 2 months, I mean, it got off to a pretty crappy start, and not surprisingly, he was steady at the helm, and it's been fun to watch him, do his thing. But I'm not surprised, and we communicate a lot. I texted him after the game last night, so yeah, I'm excited for him.
We'll finish up with Ian, second row, your left.
What's the biggest challenge you have facing a Bobby Witt Jr., especially in a playoff series?
Just the complete player that he is. Obviously plays a premium position at a high level at short. His speed is, maybe second to none, maybe. I think he's as fast as there is, which shows up on the base paths. He's obviously got great bat to ball, on base, hit for average, and then he's got thump in there too. So he's one of the game's great players. And he's a handful and certainly a guy that has our attention.
Hey, Gerrit, what has this wait been like for you?
Well, I mean, I'd rather be playing, I guess, in some regards, but obviously we earn the days off, so I've taken the kids to school a few days and put them to bed a few days, so that's been nice. It's always just like anticipation, just builds day by day until you finally get to play.
And when you look at that Royals lineup, what do you see as the biggest challenge for you?
Just a lot of quality hitters, good team speed, good power, led by obviously a world champion, MVP type Hall of Famer in Salvador. along with one of the most dynamic talents in the game, Bobby Witt. They have some veteran guys with playoff experience and good, good savvy towards the bottom of their lineup and on their bench.
We'll stay there with Bruce Beck.
Garrett, what does the opportunity mean to you to get the ball in Game 1 of the postseason for the Yankees?
Yeah, it's always a special. It's always a special feeling getting the ball anytime you take it in Game 1. And it's even more special here with this uniform. It feels good, knowing where we started this season and what we've had to do to get to this point. So I'm just very thankful.
I'll go to Brendan against the wall on your right, Garrett.
Just what do you think of this team's chances to make a run here?
I love them.
Why?
It's a lot of good players, good togetherness. We've shown that we can play really good baseball, and I think we've been waiting for waiting for this series, looking forward to getting into the postseason. So,
second row on your left, Garrett. Peter.
Hey, Garrett. Just how would you describe this season for you, and how meaningful is it for you, I guess, to be taking the ball in this moment after everything you've been through? Yeah, I mean, it's a season of ups and downs, seasons of perseverance. I'm thankful that I was able to come through the injury all right and be in a good position, as good a position as I can be at this point, and feeling really good going into the most important games of the year. So, I feel really blessed in that regard, and I'm happy I'm in a position now to be able to contribute. It's taken a while.
Go to Brian in the first row.
Garrett, what's it been like to watch Juan Soto for a full 162 here?
It's been just as much. It's been just as much fun. I haven't had to pay for tickets. I get a front row seat. Nobody obstructs my view, and he just competes on every pitch, like the great players that have come before us, and like the great players that are in every game. I mean, it's just it's fun to watch.
Go to Gary right here.
Garrett, going back to the injury in spring training, Aaron Boone recently said that there was some uncertainty when you went down. Just what was your level of concern at the time, and what was your level of certainty you'd get back to this point?
Would be hard to. Depends on what particular day you were talking about. The uncertainty there for a while. It would be hard to put like a rating on it, but. It was the first time going through something, so like anybody else, the first time you go through something, you got to figure out how you're going to navigate it. I feel, like I said, I just feel really thankful for the whole process. I kind of got a second bite at the apple, and I'm in a really good position right now. So, I'm just overall thankful for it.
Go to Anthony right behind you, Gary.
Garrett, Aaron Boone hit a pretty big playoff home run for this franchise. Does he ever talk about it in any context?
Well, I don't know. I can't recall him unsolicitedly bringing it up. If it's on replay, sometimes on rain delays, he'll stick his head around the corner and be like, "Did you guys see that?" It's like, "Yeah, we saw it, Aaron."
Go to Ron up front.
Why do you think Pham has been a particularly tough out for you over the years?
Oh, he's a great fastball hitter.
What did you learn from just past matchups with him?
He's a great fastball hitter. It's what he really is. He's just tough hitter. Covers all parts of the strike zone. Doesn't really take a pitch off. He was on the White Sox for a while, and they weren't very competitive. But yet there's Tommy Pham not taking a pitch off. Losing 8-9-0 in the 6th inning, and he just plays every pitch super hard. And he's talented.
I'll go to Justin in the second row.
Garrett, Aaron was in here calling Bobby Witt a complete player, but from a pitcher standpoint, technically, what makes it a challenge?
He just has just all the attributes. Like he's like a creative player, right? His power, speed, defense, throwing arm. He covers all parts of the strike zone. Hits for average. Doesn't chase a whole lot. And it's like, what's there not to like?
Go to Jack, one row behind, and then Bob.
Gerrit, when you signed with the Yankees, you famously said pressure is a privilege. But from a team perspective, knowing that this is the one season you guys are guaranteed to have Soto, how much pressure is there on the Yankees to win it all?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it that way. I've kind of just been enjoying it, especially while we have him, and he can't go anywhere right now. So we're just, just living in the moment in that regard.
We'll go to Bob against the wall.
Gerrit, could you talk about how your arsenal has diversified this year? I mean, your other pitches besides the fastball are as important to you and as effective as your fastball. Can you talk about the evolution of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just constantly in the pursuit of efficiency and trying to figure out, what's the best way to get the out. Whether it's changing speeds or throwing different breaks. Certain hitters have specific weaknesses, and depending on what I'm doing that day, if it makes sense to try to throw something that goes at that weakness, then that's certainly an option to try to collect an efficient out. But it's a lot of just constantly just adjusting, more so than it's any like concerted effort. It's just trying to take in the information that the game gives you, and like I said, stay curious and be as efficient as you can.
On your left, Gerrit, Max.
Gerrit, watching Michael Wacha over the years, I'm sure you faced him in the Central a few times.
Almost threw a no-hitter against us in the division series.
So what makes him such a challenging matchup?
Steep fastball, downhill, attacks the strike zone. He's had a great changeup for the last 12 years. Obviously, he's comfortable in big situations. He's got a couple other wrinkles in there. Good two-seam, good cutter, good curveball. He's been really good for a long time.
Do a couple more. Ian in the second row.
Gerrit, you've been fortunate enough to pitch in the playoffs a lot in your career. What's kind of different about that time of year? How much do you kind of enjoy and embrace that challenge?
Yeah, it's obviously different, but your objective is to hone in your routine and your process during the regular season, and then go out and execute it regardless of how different the situation is. Hopefully, if you've put yourself in that position plenty of times before. I mean, obviously I have experience, so that helps. But it's just like any baseball tournament that you get excited for as a 12-year-old. Like, it's like, okay, we get to go try to win something that's really important. It's obviously just higher stakes, higher leverage. Like every single pit, there's 3-0. You can't assume anybody's taken. I mean, in the middle of May, you might assume somebody's taken a 3-0 pitch. You don't necessarily assume that in these situations, regardless of the score. Momentum can change on any pitch. It's super exciting.
We'll stay there with Peter.
Gerrit, just what would winning the World Series mean to you?
I've been trying to do that for a long time. That'd be great. That'd be amazing. Yeah, we got a long way to go though. So don't bring me there. We got to take care of Saturday first.
Go to the fourth row on your right, Gerrit.
Gerrit, just along those lines of the postseason difference. What's the difference from the crowd here at Yankee Stadium and the fans when you're out there throwing that first pitch for Game 1?
Yankee Stadium just I feel like the passion comes through in the noise, and then like the pageantry of the stadium. It's hard not to think about like all the great moments of the franchise, and then it's 50,000 people, so it's a different sound. Sometimes you go to different venues and like the dome is closed and it's like a high pitch like screech, right? But it's 40,000, 36,000, 38,000. When it's here, it's open air, it's cold, and it's just the sound like fills you like from the feet up, and it's just a different sound. It's wonderful.
Take two last ones, Ron and then Bruce.
Does your knowledge of the umpire tendencies factor in at all to pitch selection and placement?
That's a great question. No. I can't recall. I can't recall studying an umpire's strike zone before a game and going out there and trying to, exploit or take advantage of the tendencies. Within a game, you get a certain pitch, right? And you're like, well, I might as well throw that one again right there. I mean, we've been doing that since 1908. So, that's pretty standard. And so no, not really. Not really.
Thinking more like, you have this extra inch on the inside corner or outside corner on that day with that guy.
Yeah, not as preemptively as that. I mean, I've taken a look at some of them sometimes to kind of, added some objectivity to my perspective of them. Like before, we didn't have those charts, so it was like, okay, if I can remember this game on this guy, he was sometimes large in this area. Now we have data, so like I don't want to go out there and know that the guy's tight and expect him to be wide, because that's just kind of managing my expectations. But I wouldn't say that I've never really had a tactical like type of situation where it was like, okay, like we're going to attack the umpire strike zone, more so than the hitter. But it's like sometimes if you get a call on the outside corner, like way off, it's like, well, like maybe we try that again. But again, that's novel stuff. Like that's playing baseball A. So
I'll finish up with Bruce.
Do you consider the mound like that area, like your laboratory, like your classroom? Are you most comfortable when you're just getting ready to pitch?
Yeah. I mean, I like the mound. I like the mound here. Danny does a great job. I think sometimes we refer to it as an office a bit. Maybe it's a bit grown up, but laboratories, like I guess laboratory works. I mean, you get comfortable out there, right? That's where we play all the time. So I'd imagine like any player kind of steps into their zone and they have a level of comfort or they have a level of familiarity, like you feel at home. You've gotten in the zone in this particular spot on the field like so many times. So it's like, back in college we used to talk about, you step into the circle, you step out of the circle kind of a thing. So yeah.